Okay, so today I think I'm gonna try to redo what I've done in the past. So my first few videos were about GameStructor, and I think I can just do what I did better. So first, for pretty much anything, we're gonna have to add a name and the text. Basically, what the text does, it adds text to whatever you're making, just like of how you just saw. And description, what it is for is it basically describes what you're making so that when other people see what you did, they'll know what it's for and what it's about. And the editor is pretty self-explanatory. The background changes the background, and the foreground is what you draw with. So we're just gonna time-lapse my drawing. Don't forget to use the magnification tool that I just used, so it makes things a little bit easier to draw. Okay, and I forgot to tell you this, but with the text color, you can change the color of the text that you put in. And also, you can put in photos. I don't know, but for some reason it won't show me my file manager, so that's why that photo just appeared. And yeah, that's pretty much it for tiles. So next we're going to be doing tokens. So tokens is think of it as a chess piece. It's going to be what you're moving around on the board. It's going to be basically your character, anything like that. So it's very similar to the tiles. You draw the same way and everything. The only difference is there's no background option. So that means that it will be transparent. So anywhere where you don't put any colors, you'll be able to see through that when you're playing the game. And another thing that's a little bit different is the text. It's below the coloring that you did. And I don't know if you noticed, but I also imported a photo. I'm just gonna erase the foreground. Oh, forgot. You can just hit that clear button up there. So I just did that. So you can just add photos to tokens the same way you would with tiles. So next is cards. So cards are a little bit different from the others. So you just put a name just like the other ones. The title is going to be at the top, and the description. So basically, in Pokemon cards of how the stats and stuff are at the bottom. Description is basically going to be that. Anything you want at the bottom can just be there. But first, I'm just going to put in a foreground. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're just going to finish up real quick. Shrink it down. And then I'm going to show you how to do an image just like before. And description, forgot to add that in, so we're just going to put that in. And then there we go. And you can change the background of the card by changing the card variable. And same thing with description, just change the description variable. And another thing you can do, which is a little bit unique from all the other things, is you can put in images that cover up the whole thing. So it tends to stretch it out long ways unless you use a photo that's the same form factor. And a trick that you can do is if it's too high, the description, you can put enters of where you want it to be, so it'll lower it down. So now we're going to move to dice sides. So dice sides, basically what they're for is before you make a die, you have to make the dice sides for the die. So whenever you roll a die, it'll pop up one of those. So it works just like all the others. You put in a name, a description, blah blah blah. But you only have options for backgrounds and foregrounds. There's no text option or anything like that. So I'm just gonna draw our little logo. There we go. And importing images, it's a little bit different. You need to have a small image because mine was a little bit too big. So it kind of just like made a giant photo. So just keep in mind of that. So the next thing we're going to do is rules. So the rules, it's pretty self-explanatory. You just basically edit a Word doc, and it is basically just, the rules for the game that you make, the rules that you want people to follow whenever they play their game. So you don't just like guess of what you're going to have to do. So it's pretty simple. You just put in a title and blah, blah, blah. I'll skip the rest for you, and then we'll get to boards. So boards, basically you just use tiles to make a board. And so we're going to just do a green and a black one and make our logo on a board. So boards, they're unique from everything else. First, you have to choose if you want a hexagon or a square type board. So this is going to be like the shape of a board. So if like you're making something like Catan, you're going to want to use a hexagon board type. But like if you want to use some kind of other game, you might want to use squares. So it's pretty much the kind of game that you want to play. But if you are using squares on a hexagon board, it's not going to work. You have to plan ahead to choose what you want. So I'm just going to build my little board real quick. I'll put in time lapse so y'all don't have to suffer. So there's one more thing I forgot to talk about. So there's a template option that you can use, and so if you're like trying to build something, but it's difficult for you to draw it, so in this case an arrow for me, so I'm having issues drawing it, so you can use a template to find whatever you want. So just hit the blue template button after I put a name, and you have all these options, so you can just find the right option for you. So in this case I'm looking for an arrow, so there I go. And templates, they're pretty much in every single thing that you can use, such as tokens, cards, die sides, all that. And in the board, there's a rotate option that you can see on the top right. It's kind of cut off, but basically what you can do is you can rotate a directional tile, for example an arrow, in any way you want, so you don't have to make a new arrow for every single direction you want to put it. So you can just use the rotate for pretty much anything. And there I'm just showing you of how you can change squares to hexagons and all that. So I hope this helped out people that were a little bit confused on how to use GameStructor. So I hope you do good. See ya.